What the hell's going on? Everything's completely out of control. It's nuts. I've never seen it like this. Of NDP-Liberal, radical, woke, catch and release. Say that all of a sudden they've changed their mind on quadrupling the carbon tax up to 61 cents a liter. We have the most uranium for nuclear centers. Meta, Google, Microsoft are all buying or...
Grounded TV.
Everyone,
Here we go.
I just got a belated haircut, and the first thing that the hairstylist said to me is, "What the hell's going on? Everything's completely out of control. It's nuts. I've never seen it like this." And she's right. But before we get to the obvious of the last 60 days of liberal chaos and the threats that that weakness has invited from incoming President Trump, let's just talk about everything that was out of control before that. Housing costs, out of control, doubled after 9 years of NDP Liberals, rising faster than in any other country in the G7. Food costs, out of control after the NDP Liberal carbon tax caused grocery prices to rise 37% faster in Canada than in the United States, driving 2 million people to food banks. A quarter of our kids, according to federal data, are going to school hungry, and a quarter of our families are living in poverty. The worst inflation in 40 years. After out of control liberal deficits and money printing increased our money supply by $700 billion, or 40%. That is to say, 10 times faster.
It's just a campaign speech, I guess, right?
Output of our economy. Spending out of control. The deficit hit $62 billion. Remember, we were all supposed to accept the excuse that COVID caused the deficit, but as we get further and further away from COVID, the deficit actually gets bigger and bigger. The deficit 50% bigger than it was supposed to be. A fact we found out the same day that the finance minister who was supposed to tell us about this failure resigned and blamed her boss for that failure. Immigration is out of control with a 200% increase in year-over-year population growth, causing a massive housing, social service, and job crisis. Our borders out of control with dangerous poisons pouring in from China and Mexico, and then manufactured into deadly fentanyl that has killed 47,000
CBC was doing a story on that. They said something about these
out of control
immigrants coming here and then having to move
50%.
back because they couldn't afford the housing.
Okay, so I was trying to listen to the live announcement. We can talk about it right after. Maybe you want to just.
Oh, okay. Is he doing it? I didn't. Okay.
Yeah. This is happening right now.
Gun crime
Oh, okay.
up
No, I just meant this was like same stuff he's usually saying.
16%. And hate crime up 251% after 9 years of NDP Liberal, radical, woke, catch and release criminal justice policies. Everything is out of control, and now our government is out of control. We have a lame duck prime minister, rejected and fired by his own caucus, unable to respond to threats from abroad or crises that he and his party caused after 9 years at home. And why did they get rid of him? Did Liberal MPs get rid of him because they disagree with his policies, doubling the housing cost? Did they say that all of a sudden they've changed their mind on quadrupling the carbon tax up to 61 cents a liter? Is it because they feel guilty over the hell they've unleashed in our streets? No. They say he's doing a great job. It's just that Canadians unfairly don't like him anymore. And that unpopularity threatens their power, paychecks, and pension. And so,
I don't feel like they're all saying that, but
Well, I'll give it to you. He did say a lot of his usual stuff there, but then now here's the new stuff here coming up.
okay.
the Liberal MPs want to elect another Justin Trudeau who has a different face. They're all Justin Trudeau. They're all just like Justin. In the next election, I will be running against
3
Justin
words.
Trudeau.
Damn it.
Whether his name is Justin Trudeau, or his name is Chrystia Freeland, or Carbon Tax Carney, or Carbon Tax
He's
Clark,
misgendering Krista.
they will all be Justin Trudeau. They supported everything he's done, and they promise to keep doing it. And if they say otherwise, we know they're lying, because they would have done so earlier. Let's go through the
How?
list. You have
What?
Carbon Tax Carney himself to this day. He's on the Liberal.
Well, there's a lot of people who have just like flip-flopped, right? Like not.
Okay, but like, let's say if Carney was like vehemently opposed to a whole bunch of the stuff that Justin was doing, and he was telling him that behind the scenes, Justin doesn't have to listen to him, right?
Website as the chief economic growth advisor.
Theoretically, I'm not saying he
Justin
was,
Trudeau.
but
He hasn't even resigned from that position after Justin Trudeau has resigned himself as the leader. Presumably then, Carbon Tax Carney supports every single economic policy that has given us the worst decline in per capita GDP of any G7 country.
Presumably.
That has doubled our debt, that has taxed our people, that has destroyed our productivity. Oh, there's one disagreement. Carbon Tax Carney doesn't think that Justin Trudeau is spending enough on heat pumps. That's the only disagreement we can find so far between Mr. Trudeau and his top economic advisor, Carbon Tax Carney. Then you have Carbon Tax Chrystia, who stormed out as finance minister the
That's
day
gonna
she
get
was
confusing.
supposed to introduce
You got almost
fall
the same
economic
name.
update, which would show our deficit 50% bigger than she had promised only 6 months earlier. She suddenly said she objected to the costly political gimmicks on which Trudeau had been spending money, gimmicks that she had publicly supported only weeks earlier in explicit boosterism on the floor of the House of Commons. She claims now she has some disagreement with the deficits that she ran. She disowns her own economic policy. Well, she didn't do that on principle, because she stayed on as finance minister months after she learned the deficit was bigger than she had promised, weeks after she learned the Prime Minister was throwing $4 billion away on a temporary tax trick and gimmick. She only announced she would resign after she learned she was fired. It was all about her.
And I'm not
That's
saying
why
like I don't
they call
necessarily
it
think that they
carbon tax.
deserve that benefit of the doubt, but I think that like there is an argument to say that like even if you did disagree with him on something, quitting because of that just means you're going to get replaced with someone who agrees with Trudeau even more, right? So like what really if you care about what you apparently care about, then what are you supposed to do in that situation? You can publicly quit, but then you're losing all of your influence on it.
My camera will be back in a second, guys. I'm just having a malfunction with it. I'm just fixing it.
Chrystia. And then there's Carbon Tax Clark. She's the queen of the carbon tax in British Columbia. She was the carbon tax queen before Justin Trudeau even got the idea. In fact, she might even have been the inspiration. Of course, BC had the first and the worst carbon tax. And Carbon Tax Clark bragged, and you can look up the quote here, bragged that BC's carbon tax was the highest in North America, and that it was twice as high as the federally imposed carbon tax. So they're all Justin Trudeau. They're all
I think
just
being
like
a liberal
Justin.
and a
So
Nazi lover is inherently worse than just being a liberal, right? It's like double the things you don't like.
what are they fighting about? Given that they agree on all the same disastrous economic policies, they're fighting for themselves. Liberals are putting liberals first. It's time to put Canada first.
And this is what I've been saying, is that they're just squabbling amongst each other rather than focusing on a path forward. You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Given that all of them are the same, all of them are
No, my camera is having an issue, guys. It's coming back on. Just give it a minute.
just like Justin, let's get this decision out of the way. We need certainty.
Yeah, I agreed with that. The
now.
one person who brought it up, I can't remember if it was on the CBC or the CTV panel, but they were talking about how right on the precipice of this inauguration, you're going to do this. Like, it's like, You couldn't have picked a better time. Like, what were you waiting for? Nothing's even really changed for you. Like, you have the same level of support you did 6 months ago.
Christopher
It's
Freeland resigning
still
is
horrible.
the main thing. I guess that
I know,
it
but
didn't hit him until that
that's what I'm
happened.
saying. Is like it's so stupid. It's so out of touch, right?
Cannot wait.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
Rob.
calling on Justin Trudeau to do what he has the legal power to do. He can do it without his caucus supporting him. I'm calling on him to walk to Rideau Hall and announce that there will be an axe the
Here, I'm
tax
still listening. Just
election
give me a sec.
now, so that Canadians can take back
What
control
did you
of their
say?
lives and announce to do what he has the legal power. Justin, let's get this decision out of the way. We need certainty now. We cannot wait. I'm calling on Justin Trudeau to do what he has the legal power to do. He can do it without his caucus supporting him. I'm calling on him to walk to Rideau Hall and announce that there will be an axe the tax election now, so that Canadians can take back control of their lives and country. The choice will be simple. Either the NDP-Liberals, who tax your food, punish your work, double your housing cost, unleash crime and chaos and weakness on the world stage, or common sense Conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, and put Canada first. We will take back control of immigration, take back control of spending, take back control of our borders, take back control of inflation, taxes, and interest rates. Take back control of the country that we knew and still love, and we will put Canada first. We will stand up and we will state clearly that Canada is a sovereign and independent country, that we will protect our integrity as a nation through strength. First of all, this means a strong economy. We need a massive bring-it-home tax cut, lowering taxes on work, investment, energy, and making stuff in Canada will bring home billions of dollars of investment and paychecks, but will also make us more economically independent and less vulnerable to threats from abroad. Second, we need a Prime Minister who can make the case to our economic allies on the ground in America. We should go to the American workers in the Midwest and their union and business leaders and say, how many jobs are you prepared to lose by hitting Canadian energy with tariffs, energy that we sell to America at discounts that create six-figure jobs for American workers? How many of those people will go out of work? How many of those hard hats will be laid down and boots will be unfilled because Americans will lose jobs due to that self-harm if those tariffs go ahead? We need to go to American home builders and say, we can help you build more affordable homes if your government would stop tariffing our softwood lumber. We need to go to the American tech companies and say, you could have access to our unmatched, totally reliable and clean electricity sources for your data centers. AI requires 10 times as much electricity as traditional information technology does. We have the most uranium for nuclear centers. Meta, Google, Microsoft are all buying or refurbishing their own nuclear plants to power their data centers.
Really?
We can do it for them here in Canada. Cold, dry climate, lots of energy, low cost, totally reliable, 100% ally right next door. We can provide that to America. And energy. Today, Venezuela being torn apart, with opposition leaders being attacked, and what is America going to be forced to do? Buy Venezuelan oil instead of good, clean Canadian oil. Not only should we condemn Maduro and the dictators in Venezuela for what they're doing, we should shut them off by shutting down their energy and their oil sales and replacing it with Canadian oil sales. The Americans, our friends, want Canadian oil, not Venezuelan, not Iranian, and not other dirty dictator oil from around the world. These are the arguments that a strong Prime Minister with the brains and backbones to lead a country would be making right now if we had a serious government. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to take back control and put our country first. That means rebuilding our economy, bringing home production, rebuilding our military, supporting a strong border, reinstating controls on immigration, and most of all, being proud of our country and unapologetic for our history. We need to honor our past and our shared values. We need
Rob
to live
with the,
out.
yeah, I was going to say,
Like, what the hell, Rob?
grotesque
Anyway,
imagery.
sorry, let's just keep it on track here, but geez, Rob, it's a descriptive fart and razor blades. Like, why? Why did you think of that?
The dream that started with John A. Macdonald. Yes, I said John A. Macdonald.
Oh, is it?
Who believed in an independent and sovereign Canada. We need to uphold our heroes, stop tearing down our symbols, remind people who come here that when they're given a Canadian flag and they land on Canadian soil, that it's the greatest gift on earth and that they should be proud to be part of the Canadian family. That's what it means to be a proud Canadian. That's what it means to put Canada first. Let's bring it home. Thank you.